We'll be presenting the case of El Ruedo. We just want to give some details about the neighborhood first. I mean, it's true that the social demographical data that we have been looking at, it's not exactly precisely divided, so we cannot precisely know what El Ruedo is composed by family, of course. In statistics it also happen like that, but we have some key information. So basically, most of women in the area are educated just until the primary education, so they didn't go further in their education. We just find that there are around 30 cases that have university studies, which is also quite relevant to understand how the population is in that area. And the average of unemployment is a little bit higher than in the rest of Madrid, but to be honest, it's not that high. But as we said, we don't know exactly in El Ruedo how is the exact percentage. So please take that data just as an orientation, let's say. And also what we found out is that according with the facilities on unemployment, there is a lot of people asking for facilities on unemployment, and they are long-term unemployment beneficiaries. So that means that they have been unemployed more than 1 year. So yeah, just for you to have a general idea.
We have gathered all the information and tried to make a SWOT analysis in terms of the internal point of view. Under police, we found that there's this movement towards more social services, stronger social services. There's subsidized rental policy, which certainly strengthens the community. Sorry. There's also this. Sorry, I lost my words. There's also a public movement. The building is extremely introverted towards the courtyard, and there are some bottom-up initiatives that have begun to emerge. That also, the rental part could also apply to the weaknesses of the proposal. I'm sorry.
So the thing is that one positive aspect of
sorry about that.
No. So one positive thing about El Ruedo is that the rental policy, as they explained to us, the social worker explained to us when we were there, is that they pay really few amounts of money for their rent. But a weakness that we have found out about that is that they didn't take into account the typology of families. So it doesn't matter if you have 1 kid or you have 5 kids, but at the end, the rental, it just depends on your on the money that you have at the end of the year. So of course, it's not the same when you have 1 kid or when you are living with 5 people than when you are living with 1 people. So another people person. Sorry. So of course, that's a weakness that we have. Another thing that you have found out is that they randomly allocated people, and we said that in the sense that there is one building who was created for policemen, and another building that was great for Egyptian population. So even though they say that they try to create this social mixture, actually what they did is that they really fragment the population, and they did not favor the social mix. Even though if they have this courtyard that my colleague was saying before inside, that it's the only space where the community can have a little bit of communitarian life, let's say. But it really depends on them, not on the points, let's say. So from the URT's point of view, we saw that it's very inaccessible, and it doesn't welcome people. So when we were entering, you don't feel like welcome to go there. We just went because we needed to go there to study the area, but it's not something pleasant to go and visit, and we think that that's a weakness. And another thing is that, as also the social worker explains to us, it's that the construction is very poor now. I mean, some parts are very degraded, and they even need to call the police that he said to us, because some parts were just falling apart. So that's also, of course, a weakness, and it's unsafe for the population. And finally, on the Civitas, we also said that the area, it's not that it's super badly connected, but the fact that they have this M30, that it's super noisy, and not just noisy, but it creates this social barrier between this neighborhood and another neighborhood, that is the one that was more middle upper class. So going to the positive aspects more externally on the opportunities, we say that the fact that it's affordable housing is something that is positive, especially now that cities become more and more pricey in terms of housing. In terms of herbs, some of the opportunities is that it's the location, so it's well connected, even though we say that there is a lot of weaknesses, but it's well connected. And from the point of view of Civitas, it's true that there is this stigma, but it's something that they are trying to change. So they have a lot of programs, as the social fellow was also explaining to us. They have a lot of projects that they try to get rid of this stigma, or at least change the perception of people internally and externally. And finally, we also think that is also an opportunity if we take into account that there is some kind of multiculturalism inside the community, so that can be a strength as a potentiality for the neighborhood. And for the threats, we said there is a misuse of the underground parking lot. We didn't talk a lot about that, but it is already planned, and there is an underground parking lot, but actually it's not in use, it's not well maintained, and there is problems with drug dealing in those areas too, so that's something that we want to potentiate, and you will see afterwards. The problem of dropping off to school, although the social workers said it to us, we looked at the statistics, is not that, let's say, it doesn't shock us, because the percentages are not that different from the rest of the city of Madrid, to be honest. And from the point of view of the Civitas is that people, they have this low-income community, they have some technology requirements that are difficult to achieve if they don't have the possibilities to do that, And finally, one of the threats that we think that it may happen, or it may create a future that we would not like to, it's the fact, the problem of gentrification as a consequence, or as a side effect of the fact that this public housing, it's now going to be private, so they will have the possibility to sold it out to private companies or to other people that are not the usual local residents. So from that, and thanks to one of the groups that, I'm sorry, I don't remember who was that, they give us a clear so when they give to us their SWOT, they give us this idea of trying to merge in a more graphical way the weakness, the threats, the strengths, and the opportunities. So we try to kind of merge it into our Civitas and bodies. Unfortunately, we don't have much to go.
So our proposal is a kind of program. We took a reference or inspiration from the building itself, which kind of reminded us paperclip. So we thought that this idea is of the paper clip to kind of clip the realities, not only the reality of El Ruedo to the Madrid, but also between the different communities in the neighborhood itself. So we have this three-phase program. The first one more regarding maybe the tactical urbanism, to first start with the community itself to activate the space to make it more porous, but without some kind of constructural intervention. So to use, for example, the blank surfaces for artistic intervention represent the different cultures that are there. And the phase 2 and the phase 1 will be more elaborated by my colleague. The phase 2, when we activate the space, when we make it more porous, we want to free it from the cars. So to improve the underground parking lots to use for the cars, and also to eliminate this problem of the truck use and of the truck all that's happening there. And we can see that maybe these interventions can lead to the gentrification of the neighborhood. So we see that we need to make some kind of policies for that to stop. So one of the ideas for the interventions was the murals, to kind of put it as a landmark that you can go there to put it there. Also to paint for example the ground, as for the Studio Big in Copenhagen, putting the different cultures to represent them on the ground, and that's how we start to incorporate the society there. And also one of the idea of the Berlin-based studio around Labor to make really the society at the center of all this intervention, to represent them, and not to come and say you should do like this, but to learn, to teach them or help them how to intervene this place.
Okay, so finally what we did is to develop just the phase 1, because we didn't have time to develop everything. So, of course, so the first thing when we did the proposal is to think about which actors were going to be part of our proposal. So what we said in a very schematic way is, one thing that we need administration responsible, so people who give us permission, for example, to paint the wall, just a very basic thing, but we need permission for that. We need permission to take off the cars, we need permission to paint the streets, so all these kind of things. We need administration to be involved in that and to have an agreement with us. We also need the local authorities for that. We need the policeman to also control that everything is going in a good way, because we want to close the whole street. So that pedestrians can just flow in a more nicely and gentle way. Of course, we need the social workers actually react, because we think that one, it's not enough, because they really take care of a huge volume of families. Although he explained to us that they are more than 50 volunteers, but again, they are volunteers. I mean, they are not a kind of like an organized thing. Go back. And then also, of course, we need the participation of social and cultural associations, as well as local artists and local inhabitants from the inside of the neighborhood, but also from the outside, because we want everyone to merge in this place. So, yeah, no, yes. So in the second stage, what we need to do is to go in deep. So we need more information about that. The SWOT analysis give us some information, but just some primary information. We need to go in deep on the social demographic indicators also, and we thought that going in deep on knowing exactly which are the needs of the residents will be a good idea. So in-depth interviews would be a nice idea to do, and more like face-to-face conversations with them. So in the first stage, when we looked at the future of the neighborhood, we are concerned about this process of gentrification that can take place. So we think that it's very important to really to make the residents the first ones to being able to access to their housing, so to being able to buy their house. We also thought that maybe if they don't have the resources to do that, we could do some kind of policy that is more progressive, in the sense that they could pay less taxes for an amount of time. I mean, that's something that would need to be discussed, but there are other ways of doing that. So we can guarantee somehow that they don't need to leave their homes. And in the fourth stage, So define the neighborhood improvements. We scheme like our aims that are very ambitious, but those are our aims. So the first one will be to improve the social integration of the locals with the community of Madrid, especially to eliminating the stigma, but also empowering the trust between local people and people that are coming from the outside. Enrich the cultural agenda with that strategies that we want to do in the park that is inside El Ruedo, welcoming also people that are from outside. And we wanted to do so in such a way that we don't intervene in a very radical way. So if it doesn't work, we don't screw the whole social and whole communitarian links. So we want to do things that are temporary, and if it works, eventually we can increase and be more incremental and more intrusive, let's say, in this kind of way, and assure the residential stability, so assure that they will keep on their houses, as well as activating the local economy of the space. And finally, in the last slide, we have the evaluation of our policy that we did with the United Nations carried these 11 steps. Basically, to conclude, what we can say about our policy is that we have really nice ideas for the cultural and the social life, but it's true that we didn't take a lot into consideration the environmental side. And that's something that we think that maybe we should work more on that, but on the social and the communitarian side, I think we did quite well.